In this video, I'm going to share with you part one on how to play. This is an updated video on how to play Lean on Me by Bill Withers. And if you watch until the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a surprise resource to continue your learning. So the way that I'm going to approach this particular song is I'm going to give it a twofold approach, where not only am I going to show you how to actually play the song, but I'm also going to show you the theory of the chords that are occurring behind the song. So as opposed to me just kind of spoon feeding you the song, you're able to understand exactly what's going on in terms of chord progressions and things of that nature. So part one is going to go over the theory. Part two, which I will release next week, I'm going to go over the actual tutorial. So for here, if you're a complete beginner, you do need to know some piano basics. You do need to know that so there are white keys, there are black keys, and then the white keys are named by letters of the alphabet, just the first 7, A to G. So in music, we usually learn C first, and C is always going to be in the same spot. If you notice, the black keys are in groups of 3, 2, 3, 2, with some space in between these groups. C is always going to be the white key to the left of the 2 black keys. So any 2 black keys you find by themselves on the piano, C is going to always be to the left. So this will be your reference point. So these 2 black keys here, this is also C, just in higher tone. These 2 black keys here have C to the left, just in lower tone. So as you go to the left, the keys go lower in tone. As you go to the right, the keys go higher in tone. So after C, it just goes D like the alphabet. And then after D, it's E. After E, it's F. After F, it's G. Now after G, the alphabet resets. So you have A that comes in after G. After A, it's B. And then it connects to the next C. And the cycle starts over. So you basically just have 7 white keys that just repeat the same 7 letters. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, so on and so forth. That's as straightforward as the piano gets. And then also keep in mind that fingers in the piano have numbers. So thumb is number 1, index is 2, middle finger is 3, ring is 4, pinky is 5. Same with the left hand. Thumb is number 1, 2 finger is the index finger, 3rd finger is middle finger, ring finger is 4th finger, pinky is 5. So you'll see me refer to those finger numbers as we go through this exercise. So here, you want to understand that when you are going over notes, right, you have to refer to a particular key. I don't know what key that the original song is in, but we're going to play it in the key of C. What do I mean by that? That's what I mean by the key of C. C is kind of like the home key of that particular key. So if I was to play the song in the key of C, I don't know the chorus. So lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. So everything leads back to that particular key. So we're in the key of C, right? The scale, the major scale for the key of C would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Why am I telling you this? Because if we're in the key of C, C is being referred to as the first note, or the first scale degree of that key. D is the 2nd scale degree. E is the 3rd scale degree. F is the 4th scale degree. G is the 5th scale degree. A is the 6th scale degree. And B is the 7th scale degree. And then C is going to be back to being the 1st scale degree. Right? Now when it comes to the chords that you've seen me just play with the right hand, you want to be introduced to how those chords work. So the C chord, well, there's a specific name for it, the C major triad, but for beginners, let's just refer to it as a C chord. C chord meaning C is the root of the chord, right? So if you were to play this particular C chord, you would skip a key, go to E, skip a key, go to G. And you would just play all 3 notes at the same time with the thumb on C, the 3rd finger on E, and the 5th finger on G. By the way, this is one of the notes or one of the chords that we will be dealing with in the actual song. So if we're in the key of C, the C chord is going to be chord number 1, right? C, E, G. So now, if D is the second scale degree, that means the D chord, which is D, you skip a key, F, skip a key, A, which is thumb, third finger, fifth finger, you have chord number 2, which is the D chord, right? If you go to the letter E and we build an E chord, which would just be built the same way, you start with E, you skip a key, you have E, G, and B, you have an E chord, which in the key of C is chord number 3. And then chord number 4 is going to be the F chord, which is F, A, and C. And if you notice, I'm just using the same 3 fingers. I'm just sliding them up, right? So same thumb, middle, and pinky. So chord number 5 is going to be G, G, B, D. And then chord number 6 is going to be the A chord, A, C, E. Chord number 7 is going to be the B chord, B, D, and F. Chord number 1 is going to be the C chord, C, E, and G, right? So if somebody were to ask you to play a chord progression 1, 3, 5, all they're really telling you is to play chord number 1, chord number 3, and chord number 5. I'm about to tell you how all this relates to the Lean On Me song, but before I get into that, I do want to bring to your attention that I do have a piano and 3 steps video where if you're a complete beginner and want to begin your journey with learning piano, that video is in the description box. If you click on that link, you're able to sign up for that free video. It goes over the first 3 steps that you would need to learn in order to play the piano. So make sure that you sign up for that link or sign up using that link before you leave this particular video. So here's how the chord progressions work when it comes to the Lean On Me song. And then what I'll do in part 2 is I'm going to give you an official tutorial on how to play both hands together. So when it comes to chord progressions, right, if you hear the song in your head, this is where it helps you with learning songs by ear as well. Remember how I told you that the C chord is in the actual song Lean On Me, where you play C, E, G? Right? And I'm going to go into further detail in part 2, but for right now, this is just you understanding how chord progressions in theory go into the song. Now, the first chord of the song, if you were to go with the chorus, right? Lean on me. Chord number 1 is going to be the first chord of that part. So, lean on me, chord number 1, right? Now, for approaching this from a theory standpoint, the next chords are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So what does that look like? Again, I'm going to go into further detail on what chords to play. This is just about you understanding what's happening in the song, theory-wise. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. So that would be C chord. Chord number 1 again. Chord 2, which is D. Chord 3, which is E. Chord 4, which is F. So you hear how it's starting to connect with the song. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. See? And then 4, 3, 2, 1. So that would be the F chord, chord number 4. Chord 3, which is the E chord. Chord number 2, which is the D chord. Chord number 1, which is the C chord. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's the next chord progression. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from there, it goes 1, 2, 3. So that's chord 1, chord 2, chord 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then it just goes 3, 2. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2. And then the next part's going to be, for the most part, it's going to be the same. So when he says 4, it won't be long. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. And then for this part, you can, there's different chord options you can use, but just to make it simple, you just go 2, 1. So for somebody to lean on. So that's just to make it simple. So what I'm going to do in part 2 is I'm going to actually break down the actual chords themselves and what notes to play, and we'll also add the left hand. Fancy with it, but for right now, your homework is going to be to write down the chord progressions that you're going to be using, because that will help you guide, or help guide you along in part 2. So I did say I was going to give you a surprise video. I do have another tutorial series that you can follow while you're waiting for part 2, and that's going to be John Legend's All of Me. I have part 1 that I'm going to provide at the top right corner of this particular video. If you want to learn that song while you're waiting for part 2, and while you're working on part 1, you can always check that series out as well. So if this was helpful, please subscribe, like, comment. I usually put out videos once or twice a week, depending on what's going on. I try to stay consistent with it. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments section. I'm very interactive. I always stay updated with what you guys have going on, and I'm always happy to provide feedback. So thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in part 2 of my tutorial series. Thanks for watching.